Anyway, so what I was saying was, our brains can't separate the difference between perceived threat and real threat. So at the moment, everything that's going on, our brains are just going into haywire. Threat, 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 threat. The media is saying threat, 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 threat. We're like, do we have enough toilet paper? Do we have, it's just going nuts. But it often does this even without coronavirus. Like, can I afford the rent? Can I do this? So we've got more coming at us now than ever before. I've already spoken about kind of controllables with what's happening right now. And so for me, today was one of the best days for my business, full stop, because I just got busy. And more than that, I just started to think a little bit outside the box, but partly because I can do a bit of meditation, which still centers me and gets me calm, and in my parasympathetic, my brain still works well. Because in sympathetic, which is the stress zone, it basically shuts down that ability to think creatively, be calm outside the box, or think clearly. So that's one of the main things that I wanted to get across with businesses, with at work or whatever. Start to try and be a little bit more creative with what you're doing, because that we just have no choice right now. But I think, and me 5 years ago, I used to enjoy being in the victim mentality space, or having an excuse for why things were maybe not going right in my life. And I think sometimes as a society, we're a little bit like this, like, my business is going to be stuffed because of coronavirus, so it's not my fault, so poor me, or, that's my excuse for why I have to shut down or whatever. And I know there's some industries, and it sucks that they just have to close, and that's terrible. And like I said, my business is being affected as well, but I've just got to get busy with still keeping in mind having space and time for myself and being able to get through this. It's like, like free diving. Sometimes you come up from some really deep dives and you are not okay, but you kind of go, you still get there, you take some recovery breaths, you recover, and you go, I'm okay. And I feel like that's a bit of a microcosm for what's about to happen with us. Like, we're going to get through this. It's just a matter of time. And you'll get stronger from it. It's like a muscle. It's like if you're wanting to try and build a bicep, you got to lift some heavy stuff. And while you're lifting it, it hurts. And your muscles, the fibers are tearing, and your muscle is actually bleeding in there. And then you go through the sore part the next day, and then all of a sudden the soreness goes, and you've got a stronger bicep. It's kind of got to be like how we think about our businesses, our work life, our family, our mental state. It's just like what we've got to get to, because there's no other option. You can't just bury your head in the sand and give up. You've just got to think of other ways. And today was an amazing day for me. I just had probably some of the best things happen that have happened in the last 12 to 18 months, like just from just thinking outside of the square and going, well, what am I going to do? I can't whinge and complain about it. I've got 2 kids that don't stop eating, and I got a mortgage and all this other stuff. So it's like, got to do something. And I came up with quite possibly my best catchphrase ever. Are you ready? I wrote it down too, just so I remember. Don't buy into fear. Just stay clear. So, just don't buy into the fear. Just stay clear of people. Do the right things. I've had some people have a go at me about the possibility that I'm being irresponsible, not helping spread the fear, I feel. And so I did, I got some facts and some maths, and I just did the work myself, and I went, how many confirmed people in Australia actually have this? It was like 1,098. And I did the maths, and divided it against the population, it turns out confirmed cases are 0.00004% of this population confirmed to have it. Now, there's probably more, I understand that. But let's say it's double, 0.00008. Let's say it's triple, 0.00016. Those numbers are still pretty low. You don't hear this though. You don't hear this. Also, it's not, as a virus, it's not actually very good at jumping from person to person. Believe it or not, Ripley's. You have to actually sniff up someone's sneeze or cough, or breathe it in through your mouth, or touch a surface that they've put it onto, and then put that hand in your mouth. That's why you should wash your hands. So, as a virus, it's not that effective at getting at you. Like SARS, swine, bird, flus, all these ones, they were airborne. Like, that scares me, because I could be sitting on this deck and the air could just bring it here, and I go, and then I could get it. So, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but partly that's what I've said in the previous videos, is that that's partly why I'm not going to worry about what's going on, is because I can't come up with a cure. I am absolutely no good to Australia or the world. I am not going to be able to get you the antidote that you need, or I need. So instead, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do yoga on my deck. I'm going to do some F45 as well. They've really looked after me, the guys, over the years with my training, and now they're going to give me some online stuff to do that I can do on this very deck or down in the yard. So I'm going to eat good food. I'm just going to take care of myself, and I'm going to think outside the box with my business, because that's all I can do. I can't control anything else. Control the controllables, control the controllables. So, yeah. That's just some of the stuff that I wanted to share with you, I suppose. I just did this podcast, and look this guy up, John T. Marsh, I think he is, or John Marsh, does some great stuff with businesses. So if you want some help business-wise, please look him up or hit me up on this and I'll give you his details. But he picked up on something. This meditation and stuff is all about retraining the brain to react differently to thoughts. So when you get a thought, just attach back to breath, or when you get a thought, just attach back to relaxing your body down, or when you get a breath, just attach to a mantra, which I'm going to teach you in a second. So you retrain the brain to not worry about thoughts and not react to them, but just bring yourself back. And so you retrain your brain. And one thing that he noticed in me, that when I was actually talking to him, and I was talking about how at the end of a big breath hold, I'll pull myself in close to the wall in static breath hold, which is laying face down in a pool, not moving, and trying to hold your breath for as long as you can. I was explaining to him that at the end I start to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I check in with myself and see whether I'm still okay, and then I go 1, 2, 3. And something that I'd never noticed, but is obviously a part of the training of my brain, that he said to all his listeners on his podcast, was he's like, Adam, what you probably don't realize, and what I just noticed, was that as soon as you started to count, you started to close your eyes, and each second that went by, you closed them more and more and more and more until you got to 5. And then when you did the check-in, your eyes came on, and then you went down again each time you did it. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. But that is how I've retrained my brain. So this meditation, all these guided stuff that I've been giving you, is just a simple retraining of your brain and finding ways to become relaxed in a crazy world that we're in at the moment. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. So the technique that, like I said, I'm not going to guide you today. I've had a massive day myself, and I wanted to get this video out. But there's a type of meditation that's called transcendence or transcendental meditation. Getting back to a lot of meditation have these rules, like lots of rules attached to them and stuff. The one thing I really don't like is some of them try and discredit other meditation. Like, meditation is meditation. If you're doing it, great. Some people go like, I don't do meditation well. There's no such thing as not doing meditation well. You're doing it, so that's great. And you get better at it. You get better at switching off, and you get better at dealing with thoughts, and you just get better at meditation or mindfulness or whatever you want to call it. But this particular one is actually called mantra. So it's a mantra. So far we've gone through pure breath. We've also gone through, what did we go through? Relaxation of the body, or body scan as they like to call it in a lot of different places. Gratitude was a part of that as well. We went through sounds yesterday. So this one is mantras. So it's a way of kind of like anchoring yourself in. Now this is the one that I was taught, and it's and you can pause this at any point to really get it in, but it's Sa, and it's all like Sanskrit yoga. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And what you might not be able to see I'm doing with my fingers is the thumb touches the index, and then your middle finger touches the thumb, then your other finger, ring finger, touches your thumb, and then your pinkies touch your thumb. So as you say these, so like Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, you're distracting your brain away, but you're also being repetitive with it. So what happens is it just starts to like really, I felt when I first learnt this, like this is one of the best ones. It was kind of like, just helped me sink in. And then what I started to do was feel that some of my fingers were more sensitive than others. So I'd start to try and feel which ones were more sensitive to touch. But just kept doing sa ta na ma, sa ta na ma. And so like I've said through these videos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you different techniques for you to try. So what I want you to do with this one is I want you to, like all of my meditation, or most of them have started where we sit down, feet flat on the floor, palms up, and just starting with some ah breaths. So all in through the nose. So like 4 or 5 of those. Then sink in, let go of your shoulders with this one. And then I want you to try 5 minutes of just doing that. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Don't have to say it out loud. You can say it in your head. That's totally cool. Also play around with the sensitivity in your fingers. So this is what basically Transcendence Meditation is. They use mantras, and they say that you have a particular mantra that is more suited to you. The only thing I didn't like about it when I went and sat in one of their sessions was they tried to discredit everything else. I really didn't enjoy that about it. Because yeah, meditation is meditation for me. There's different styles and different ways, and everyone's different. But yeah, so try that one out tonight. Start with our breaths, finish with our breaths. Sa ta na ma. Make sure your body's always relaxed. If you find parts, if you find your mind wanders, come back to the sa ta na ma. Or if you like breath, just go back to that. Okay, so yeah, so that's another technique you can use. Please, guys, try and do some mindfulness, try and do some breathing, try and do whatever. It eliminates your stress, takes you to the present moment, gets you out of your fear system, because stress, as I've already mentioned, is not a good thing. It suppresses your immune system, which we need right now. It's our only line of defense. True story. Surgeons that are transplanting organs into patients, guess what they inject into people to suppress their immune system so that it won't attack that new organ? Stress hormones. True story. So, guys, once again, hope you enjoyed this little chat more so. It's just I came off this podcast, I thought I just need to share some of the gold that was on there. So look after each other, look after yourself, bring your stress levels down, and talk to you again soon.